have we paid enough attention to the World Juniors to talk about them? I can talk about them lightly. Um,
I can also
Czechia's,
talk about them a little bit.
yeah, Czechia and Sweden are undefeated. The US and Canada both have been upset. Um, well, I mean, yeah, I'd say upset because Finland beat US today. Canada obviously lost to Latvia, and that caused quite an uproar, right? There was a Latvian kid who looked at the camera and said, "Girlfriend, I love you," which gotta love it, just girlfriend. Uh, um, and the Kraken have 8 prospects in the World Juniors. A few of them have performed really well. Carson Raycop finally got added to the Canada roster. I believe it was yesterday. It
He
may have
played
been,
today.
yeah. So yeah, I know I'll kind of hand it to Jade because she's been handling this for Kraken and then just generally as well. So I'll hand you some World Juniors discussion.
Um, I've seen a lot of really good things said about all of the players. Berkeley Catton had his first assist today, which go him. It was on, I'm pretty sure it was on Oliver Bong's goal, which is huge for Jade Nation. Uh, and then Caden Price has 1 goal and 1 assist. Um, I feel like I'm gonna start butchering names. Miettinen has one
Oh
goal.
yeah, that's right.
Um, and then yeah, I'm gonna
You
butcher
looking
names
at
too.
Zeb?
That's one of them.
Yeah, I will try to find that out.
Okay. 1 goal, 3 assists.
Oh,
Saleh,
great.
Saleh, right?
Chale.
Okay. Three
Pretend
goals,
there's an
2 assists.
SH.
Oh, you're right with the little, yep. Um, 3 goals, 2 assists. And then the one whose name starts with an F, not Zeb, the other one.
Oh,
That
uh,
I've never been able to, yeah.
I'm
There's some names that
forgetting.
I like feel really
Oh,
confident.
Fibbiger. Yeah,
Yep.
no, I
Some
know who
names
you're
I feel
talking
really
about.
confident just like reading and saying, not always. I don't like to butcher names. I do a lot of the YouTubing, like how to pronounce this person's name before I start talking about players, and I didn't
Yeah.
today. Anyways, he has 5 assists, so um, that's pretty much all that's going on so far. Um, I'm gonna do another recap for CSS Futures, so I guess look out for that if you're following World Juniors at all.
It has been at least just overall to see the 8 names.
Hmm.
I know I think there's another team that has 8 as well, but to have 8 prospects is exciting. I know we might have touched on the prospect pool last episode, but to have that talent, to have Berkeley Catton playing a top 6 role, Carson Raykoff is there. Um, I think it's Finland as well. I could be wrong. You can correct me, but Kim Saarinen, one of the goaltender prospects, is there.
Hmm.
Caden Price is a guy that to me kind of got lost in like the WHL draft picks they've made. Like Lucas Dragasevich was a Tri-City American. Now he's a Prince Albert Raider. Both of those guys kind of get lost because they do have guys like Carson Raykoff in the WHL. Like they especially this last draft, they drafted all those guys in the WHL. Yeah, Tyson Yugnauth is in Portland, Dragasevich is in Prince Albert, Caden Price is in Kelowna, Caden Hamill is in Everett. They're loving their WHL guys lately, and especially those D men. But then like their forwards in Catton and Miettinen especially this year with Everett, there's a big center has been really good. They've got Ollie Josephson and Red Deer and Clark Caswell and Swift Current. Um, I wrote those down so I could remember them, so I could look them up. It's exciting to me, and when Jade put this together and I kind of sprinkled some stuff in there. I put in Sawyer Minio for the Thunderbirds as well, just to kind of
Hmm.
tie in the Seattle area. And Sawyer played his first game, I think, today as well.
I think
Um,
so, yeah.
it's just exciting for the prospect pool because I've seen, some fans, I think, for this last draft who are like, oh, well, obviously it's a smaller pool than the other teams, considering they've only been around for 4 years. But I think they've drafted well. I mean, they need to see results, obviously. You want Matty Beniers to play better offensively. Riker Evans is producing well as the first defenseman you ever took. I think when he got drafted, he was with Regina. Um, it doesn't matter. Shane Wright, I mean, we've liked Shane's game this year. So, I think it's important to look at these things, just for the health of the organization. Like Sylvia mentioned earlier, you talked about building this thing through 5 years. Part of that is drafting, and I think they've largely done that well. I think they'll, have some really good talent coming through the pipeline the next few years. But how the organization views, the window to compete is a different thing. It might not match up. You might see some of these guys traded. That's just how professional sports works. Obviously, the Mariners are in a position where they have a bunch of talented prospects. They don't have anybody to trade with because no one wants prospects that they can trade with. Yeah,
World
Czechia is
Juniors are
undefeated.
also, I was
Oh,
going to say
sorry.
World Juniors are also so important because there's so many players that are um in the next draft or two. Like this year there's
Mm.
quite a few that are 2026 draft eligible. There's a lot of 2025 draft eligible, and so it gives you a chance to, like, if you're following the World Juniors and you're interested in the future of your team, it gives you a chance to really kind of see these people's games that you're not normally seeing because I'm not always turning on a WHL or an OHL or a CHL or anything game. If one is on just to watch somebody that might be playing in a few years for my team. So I think World Juniors is important. And then um from a kind of like a, again, looking to the future point of view, I used last year's World Juniors a lot when I was talking about the draft for 2024. So it all kind of ties together and it's all fun to follow along with, and I think really important for the future of any team that you even remotely care about. So,
Yeah, I mean, and to keep too with that future part, like with some of these prospects, like Shale, he's a guy last year, when he was with Kitchener, when he got traded to Kitchener after being with the Barre Colts, um, like it seemed like he struggled with confidence. I was also told that, he kind of felt like maybe he was missing home a little bit. And, that can be tough when you're kind of starting to be in the States or, away from family. I understand that. Like it makes perfect sense. Um, so I understand that, it can be tough for him to, just emotionally and mentally, to deal with that part of being a pro, and growing up. Because again, these are guys that are 18, whatever. I don't know. They're all young, you know.
they can be as young as 15 to be
Yeah.
in the World Juniors. So,
Oh, yeah. Because some of the Kraken kids are like 16, 17 that are in
mhm.
this as well, who made this as underagers, right? So I just think, not only for them to perform, but just to even like in Shale's case to get confidence. Like Czechia has been rolling, he's scored, and been a part of that. He's one of the leaders of that team after kind of being there and representing his country a few times. With some of them like Fibbeger, like you are there as a depth piece, yes, but it is still important one to represent your country. And who knows what you'll pick up for Rakoff. You're probably looking to be a competitor immediately and contribute. No, sorry, I'm thinking of Catton. For Catton, you're looking to contribute it. For Rakoff, you're a guy who maybe, hey, you want to prove yourself more if you do get in the game like you did today. So I don't know. It's a great opportunity. It is a wonderful opportunity not only to represent your country. You see how passionate these games are, and how heated they can be in some situations as well, whether it is on the ice or the results of them. I'm looking at Canada. Um, and yeah, just to perform, Shale will be in this. And then you've got some of the other guys like Miettinen scored today for Finland. He's had a great couple of years if you include this like half season with Everett. And then the year before, it can be an opportunity for you to, if you're soaring, to keep soaring. If you're sucking, to kind of get yourself back on track. So no, I think it's great to see, and should be a lot of fun. And because before the Kako trade, this was the only international representation the Kraken were going to have. But now they can send a Capo to the Four Nations, so I'll have to make a Four Nations graphic before that comes around. Um, Yeah, guys, we've talked about the homestand ahead. Well, Sylvia, do you have anything on World Juniors? Any thoughts? Any opinions? Make fun of Canada? Thoughts?
No, I haven't, unfortunately, haven't been able to watch it. And I do pay a lot of attention to the WHL just because I'm at Tri-City Americans games literally all of the time. So like watching these players, I think for me the biggest thing is watching these players who I've seen come through the Toyota Center just like get this, international spotlight to like show what they're able to do, I think is super fun. I also think it goes back to, what you were saying and what we said before, like there is talent in the Kraken prospect pool. And like that's something to be excited about, especially because a lot of the conversation that I've seen on The Athletic, on Reddit, social media, whatever, is, that we are seeing a lot of um, youth players who can no longer truly play the game, is my understanding.
Ah,
Right? Like, they're missing whatever, like, they can do all the fun tricks, they can do Instagram hockey, but they don't have that on ice awareness. And I think something like World Juniors really kind of shuts that up because we do have players that are, creating, they're smart, they're intelligent, they are two-way defensemen. And I think being able to have that really shoved in your face, if you are willing to pay attention to the youth rather than just, get angry that your 37-year-old isn't producing anymore, then maybe you, again, going back to that optimism, you have a little bit more optimism for what your team can bring, especially your brand new team like the Kraken can bring to the city. So I'm very excited. Like, yeah, like you said, they'll probably, a lot of them will get traded. But that just means that we have the power, we have power in trades. If our prospect pool is this, talented, then we can trade for even more talent. And that's exciting as well.
yeah. No, yeah, that's part of what's nice about having a deeper prospect pool is, hey, yeah, you're going to develop from within, like so many superstars have been. And the teams don't let superstars hit free agency that often. Um, and if you need to add a Carson Rakoff to a deal to get somebody, if for some reason Kyle Connor doesn't want to stay in Winnipeg, which I wouldn't want to stay in Winnipeg, you've got that prospect pool. If they want to trade you for an Oliver Bjorkstrand, but they want you need something to push them over the edge, you've got prospects. Yeah, I don't know. It has been kind of fun to talk about, especially two-way defensemen, and deep men actually being able to play defense. I know one of the things that Caden Price, I think it was Caden Price, talked about making the Canada roster in the first place was his defense, and he showed out well enough to make it. So there we go. All right, yeah, that'll do it. By the time we see you next week, we will be in 2025, the big 2025. Who knows what version of the Kraken we'll get throughout the rest of the NHL season, but hopefully it's better than how they closed out the 2024 year outside of the Vancouver win. Until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well, have some whimsy, for Sylvia.
And
Uh,
friendship.
and so, use the power of friendship because if you don't have that, I don't know what you're doing. You might be mentally ill, but you can still have the power of friendship and do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all those Kraken away games?
Cracking away games, making a push. I was thinking of coming here just because Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, only if that's okay with you.
I mean, I love that idea. Hope to see you here.
Hello there, everybody. Charles Hamaker here with Circling Seattle Sports. I'm joined by Jen Barnes of Rough and Tumble that we happen to be at right now.
Yeah.
Jen, why don't you talk to me a little bit about what we're announcing today, which is our partnership.
I'm so excited about this. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I think all of us here at Rough and Tumble are big fans of what you and your team at Circling Seattle Sports does. And so, I know you know this, but when you came to me with this idea, it just seemed pretty natural. And it's not just me. I think a lot of people in the sports community in Seattle also really respect you and your team. So it's exciting to kind of see these two things melding together, and we're really excited to start implementing some of the things and then hopefully seeing you guys a little bit more often.
Yeah, and so with what Jen says about seeing us more often, you know, we've got a few things in the works, but you'll see watch parties here. We'd like to do a few different of our community drives, which you'll hear about here in a little bit from now. You know, we've got to make our announcements one at a time. I can't drop everything.
Not everything
Right.
all at once.
But this has been a home for a lot of our team, whether it's myself, our friend, our photographer Liz is behind the camera. Liz is here often, so our team has kind of adopted this place kind of like our own since I saw you at our soft launch. So, you know, it's been great to have that support. And you know, in a lot of ways, and part of the reason I wanted to do this was the Rough and Tumble embodies a lot of what Circling Seattle Sports wants to do. Obviously with women's sports, with the storm and the rain, but just being, you know, having the game on, every game on.
Yep.
You know, how much of that, you know, did you see a line kind of even before this idea was mentioned when I first met you?
I think it's always felt like that. I mean, you and your team were here on opening night, and you just feel like you're part of the space, so it felt like really natural. And the fact that you actually cover all of the sports really makes your group stand out. So you are always covering all the rain games, all the storm games. You'd have women's softball, you'd have women's basketball, you'd have women's hockey. We love it. So all of those things, and obviously passionate M's fans, passionate Hawks fans, and passionate Kraken and Sounders fans. So really, from our perspective, those two things meshed really well.
So, I mean, you heard it from Jen herself, but this will be our home for all of these events, whether it's you can't make it to these games at home, we're always going to direct you to Rough and Tumble, and obviously the games on the road as well. All these, I mean, we're talking about the rain. They've got their schedule out finally, but this will be our home for that.
Great.
The storm games on the road, this is our home.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
I love it.
And when I mentioned it to Jen when I first had this idea come up, I had this idea come up wearing a pink wig.
Yes, you did.
Ahead of Megan Rapinoe's final regular season home game for the Reign this past year.
Yeah.
I told her it's because I wanted this to feel genuine.
Yep.
I wanted a connection to feel genuine, and it does. So that's what this is. Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, and I'm so excited to finally announce this partnership.
I can't wait.